Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Krsna-karnamrta by Sri Bilvamangala Thakur, translated by His Grace Kusakratha Prabhu. All glories to Chintamani and my initiating spiritual master, Somagiri. All glories to my instructing spiritual master, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who wears peacock feathers in his crown. Under the shade of his lotus feet, which are like desire trees, Jai Shri Radharani enjoys the transcendental mellow of an eternal consort. There is an entity who has the appearance of an adolescent boy, and who is being inundated with the desire tree flowers falling from the fingertips of the damsels of heaven. That boy is completely carefree, situated in transcendental beatitude, as he sends forth waves of sound from his famed flute. He is encircled by thousands of effulgent milkmaids, whose garments are becoming loose again and again from their extreme pleasure of hearing the flute, and who are trying to hold them up. That adolescent boy, the pinnacle of munificence, places liberation from birth and death into the hands of his surrendered devotees. We worship that dark bluish young boy, in whom culminate the principal stimuli for amorous love, who causes Radha to become languid with the beauty of his dancing sidelong glances, and who in turn becomes languid with love when Shri Radha and her friends cast their sidelong glances at him. That boy's beauty, like waves of nectar, engenders an extreme thirst in the eyes of Radha and her companions, and conversely, their nectarous beauty makes him thirsty to see them. He is affectionately worshipped by Radha's wistful glances, and he enjoys loving pastimes with Radha and her friends on the bank of the Jamuna. We worship that young bluish boy, the source of the God of love, who has attained unchallenged dominion over love's sweetness. Let the effulgence personified, Krishna, shine within our hearts. He wears a bright peacock plume on his head. His face is steeped in sweet beauty. His fresh youthfulness is bursting forth, and his flute is pouring out murmuring, nectarous sounds of rapture. On all sides the milkmaids of Braj, who have blooming bud-like breasts, worship him in adoration. Indeed, he is amazingly the only enjoyer and the only source of enjoyment in the entire universe. Shri Krishna's eyes are long like petals of a blooming lotus, and his very charming lotus-like face is made all the more charming by his extremely beautiful and sweet nectarous smiles. His profuse curling locks look delightful with their decoration of proud peacock tail feather. let him, the embodiment of all effulgence, forever shine within my heart, which is outwardly greedy for the poisonous meat of sense objects, or inwardly greedy for the beauty of Sri Krishna, a beauty that blinds the devotee's mind and causes burning pain at the time of separation from him. May the lotus of my Lord's face blossom within the lake of my mind. The eyes of that face resemble lotus buds, being half closed, and the delicate mirror-like orbs of its cheeks are puffed with the nectarous honey of the flute sound. Let my words express even a tiny particle of a particle of a particle of the luscious beauty of Murari, whose artless adolescent figure enraptures me, and whose moon-like face is worshipped by the soft melodies of his flute. All glories to Krishna, the life of my words. The black ointment from the eyes of the young girls of Braj decorates his charming lotus face, which is languid with love, and an impassioned peacock's feather adorns his head. I take shelter of Lord Krishna, who becomes agitated with passion when he hears the sound of his own flute, held in his lotus hands, which resemble newly sprouted reddish twigs. His lotus feet reproach fully blossomed patali flowers with their beauty, and his amiable face sends forth blossoms of brilliance from his delightfully sweet lips. He is smeared with the kumkum powder from the milkmaid's pitcher-like breasts. I take shelter of my Lord, whom the beautiful milkmaids worship at every step with unbroken, sidelong glances from eyes tinged red with passion. Let that effulgent youth, Krishna, come near to my heart. His wantonly restless, wide-open eyes are full of joy, and being fully aware of the hearts of the beautiful young girls of Braj, he fills them with the fluttering confusions of love. He is fickle, yet he is like the central jewel in the necklace of the milkmaids. Let my mind attain some inexpressible, beatific bliss from thinking of Krishna's lotus feet, which are the home of the eternal pastimes of the most beautiful maidens in all the worlds, which destroy the pride of the whole clusters of lotuses, and which are highly esteemed for their great eagerness in providing safety for the Lord's humble devotees. May the Lord of our life, that young boy Krishna, shine incessantly within our hearts. His eyes, full of love for Radha, are the abode of infinite beauty. Every day they appear newer and newer. At every step they increase their charm and elegance, and in every moment they sparkle more and more brilliantly. May my mind float along in the flood of bliss emanating from Krishna's moon-like face, made charming by a very mild smile. Krishna has the appearance of a young boy, and, beautified by the waves of his passionate ecstasy breaking in the ocean of sweetness, he soothes all distress. Let the force of the flood of bliss emanating from Krishna's face, which saturates the whole universe, play within my heart, which is moistened by contact with Krishna's lotus feet, by the display of charming, artless emotions on his open, lovely lotus face, and by the melody of his flute, which is relished by Radha. I bow down to the feet of Lord Krishna, whose jeweled anklets tinkle and whose footprints decorate the paths of Braja. May the sweet jingling of the jeweled anklets of Krishna, the master of the milkmaids, be manifest in my mind. Kamala's, Radha's white swans swimming in the lotus-filled ponds of the Jamuna, accord that sweet jingling a warm welcome with the melodious warbling from their throats. May Krishna's nectar-filled sweet lips play in my mind, intoxicated with delight. His broad eyes, reddish like the rising sun, are full of compassion. His hair is standing on end because of touching Kamala's, Radha's heavy, pitcher-like breasts, and he has melted the lotus-like hearts of the sages with the sound of his flute. May there appear in my mind some of the ecstatic states of the very charming Sri Krishna as he glances at the milkmaids' sweet moon-like faces, agitating them with joy. He seems to be kissing them with his half-closed eyes. As he begins sounding his flute, he assumes the attitude of an adolescent youth. May there awaken in my mind a vision of the Lord, arising from the bed of amorous play. The bracelets of Radha and Krishna tinkle softly, and Krishna's yellow cloth is grasped by them both. Their hair is disheveled from fatigue, and Krishna's peacock plume slips from his hair. Again their fickle, playful natures manifest, and at last Radha holds Krishna with her arms. We worship Lord Krishna, who is mischievously keeping his eyes closed, pretending to sleep, in order to hear the milkmaid's playful talks, which are so pleasing to the ear and mind. Though Krishna is trying to restrain himself, a gentle smile trickles from his lips, drop by drop, and he cannot check the rising tide of love, which causes his hair to begin standing on end. We do not see any object of worship other than Lord Krishna, whether he is deeply in thought, remembering how he decorated the breasts of the resplendent young girl Radha with pictures drawn with leaves and sprouts, or whether he is wandering in the Vrindavan forest, which is adorned with the beauty of his dancing feet. When, O when, shall I see that young boy Krishna, the unchallenged king of those who are exquisitely beautiful? And when shall I experience, along with that vision, the flooding nectar of his flute sound, endowed with the topmost musical embellishments? When will that child Krishna, adorned with peacock plumes, soothe and cool our eyes with a vision of his moon-like face, imbued with gentleness by the trickling honey of his tender smiles? O moonlight Krishna, please soothe and cool my eyes with your sidelong glances, tinged with mercy, with the magnificence of your childhood touched by youth, and with your wondrous playfulness, which nourishes the whole universe. When will Krishna cast upon me his sidelong glances, which are as dark blue as the blue lotuses growing in the Jamuna, and tremendous with waves of mercy? When will my heart find ineffable joy in the playful notes of his flute, which are more cooling than the moon held on the head of Shiva, Cupid's enemy? O Lord, the milkmaids are describing your fickle glances, your tender, witty talking, your slow gait made graceful by the swell of deep passion, your eager embraces, your distracting, agitating, intoxicating smile. O Lord, please let me see your bodily splendor, which is most magnificently beautiful in all three worlds, which bears your continuous smiles and your long, wide eyes, which is tightly embraced by the milkmaids of Braja to their breasts, and which diffuses an endless flood of bluish effulgence like clusters of blossoms. O Lord, please show me your mercy by casting upon me your charming sidelong glances, moving to the accompaniment of your flute song. If I have your blessings, what use are others? And if I am without your blessings, what use are others? I fix my joined palms upon my head, given voice by my increasing, ceaseless, pitiable misery, pray, O Lord, O ocean of mercy, please anoint me just once with a drop of kindness from your sidelong glance. O Lord, our eyes have become restless to see your childlike form, which is clustered locks delightingly adorned with a peacock feather. That form, which is worshipped by the buxom milkmaids, lotus eyes, possesses a face that has begun defeating the beauty of the moon and the lotus. O Krishna, O flute player, the sweetness of your early age is wonderful within the three worlds. You know my unsteadiness, and I know yours. No one else knows about this. I want to see your beautiful, attractive face somewhere in a solitary place, but how can this be accomplished? O Krishna, your verbal duels with the impassioned, vivacious milkmaids exhilarate the hearts of the fortunate. These talks are filled with the nectar of exchanges of love, rendered very pleasant by waves of witty meanings, imbued with your natural boyishness, and punctuated by the movements of your wide, dancing. Oh, when will Krishna, the great ocean of mercy, appear before me again with his spotless, effulgent, moon-like face? And when will the nectarous sound of his flute, expressive of his pastimes, remove my great disease? I am very eager to embrace that playful young boy Krishna with my restless, longing eyes. He is delightful to see, and with his tender, artless, darting glances, he fills my mind with an indescribable agitation. O Krishna, the playful movements of your restless red lips, the flood of your joyous flute sounds, and other such enchantments of yours, are, alas, tormenting me. O Lord, until some terminal disease comes to strike violently on my vital parts, and crippling my limbs and joints, may the moon of your face, by the double thick awning, for the current of my consciousness, against the burning heat of separation. Till the 10th stage of man, death, comes upon me through some physical defect, enveloping me in total darkness, let me ever see the orb of your moon-like face, which is the abode of both the pastimes of beauty and your high-sounding flute. My ear catches the tinkling of the bejeweled anklets of Krishna, the ocean of mercy. That tinkling is sweetened by his effulgent lotus feet, which are receiving waves of playful glances from his rolling eyes, and by the flooding resonances of his flute song. O my Lord, O dearest one, O only friend of the universe, O Krishna, O restless one, O only ocean of mercy, O my Lord, O my enjoyer, O beloved to my eyes, alas, when will you again become visible to me? O my Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, O friend of the helpless, you are the only ocean of mercy. Because I have not met you, my inauspicious days and nights have become unbearable. I do not know how I shall pass the time. Alas, what shall I do? To whom shall I speak? Let whatever I have done in hopes of meeting Krishna be finished now. Please say something auspicious, but do not speak about Krishna. Alas, Krishna is lying within my heart like Cupid. Therefore, how can I possibly give up talking of him? I cannot forget Krishna, whose smile is sweeter than sweetness itself, and who gives pleasure to my mind and eyes. Alas, my great thirst for Krishna is increasing moment by moment. Alas, for me, a glimpse of that young boy with lotus eyes is far away, and doubly so his embraces. Alas, I am completely unlucky. O Krishna, when, oh when, shall I see your lotus face, with its deep red lips, its constant smiling, its very charming flute song saturated with jubilation, and its delightful, half-closed eyes that sometimes open very wide and wander here and there. When will the time come when that merciful boy Krishna will look upon me with his playful lotus eyes, which are soothing and cooling with loving emotion, reddish at the corners and dark bluish at the irises, and wonderfully rolling and dancing? My eyes search for that enchantingly adorned one, Murari, whose thick locks bear a peacock plume, and whose gaze darts here and there very quickly. His lovely lips are red like bimba fruit, and with his sweet, gentle laughter, he seems to be churning the ocean of my heart with Mount Mandara. We are searching for that person who is stolen in the effulgence of thick clouds, and who has grown a bit languid from playing so much, who wears a crest jewel made from the playful feathers of an impassioned peacock, whose lotus face is so fascinating, who has become stunned by the long and close contact with the upward pointing, sidelong glances of Kamala, Radha, and who is the very overabundance of perfection of all the sweet beauty of the universe. When shall I see to my heart's content my Lord Krishna, for whom the sages must always search after along the path, but whose face, which enchants all three worlds, is always visible to the eyes of the milkmaids of Braja? When shall I see him, whose luster resembles a slightly open blue lotus bud, and who is always beyond the reach of the words of the great sages like Vyas? When shall I see my darling Lord Krishna, who is so fickle, yet so delightful to my eyes? His eyes are rolling, and as he looks out from his sportive lotus face, he sends a song of loving jokes through the holes of his flute. The adolescent loveliness of Mukunda, whose appearance enraptures the connoisseurs, clings to my mind, which is always fond of drawings from the libertine tradition. His moon-like face is cherished by the moon itself, and the softly glowing rays of his lips redden his gentle smile, or his kunda flower-like teeth are reddened by the effulgence of his gentle smile. I am absorbed in contemplating my Lord, whose eyes resemble luscious lotuses, gently developing their beauty under the rays of the sun, and whose moon-like face is full of beauty, being exhilarated with delight at having defeated the milkmaids in lovers' quarrels. I am lost in thoughts of my Lord, who is a deep lake of nectar trickling forth, as the very melodious warbling of his flute, which he holds in his lotus petal-like fingers. I am absorbed in thoughts of the sweetness of his ruby-red lips, which bear a constant series of tender laughs, filled with an abundance of his innate loving mellows. I am absorbed in thinking of my Lord. His chest shines with the sandalwood paste from the pitcher-like breasts of the ardent milkmaids, who have been incited to amorous battle by Cupid's flower arrows, and the sweet beauty of his lotus face is magnified at every moment by his gentle smile, which is full of passionate delight, and which has stolen the splendor of the moon. My eyes desire to see the form of the young child Braja, who enchants the whole universe. His dark eyebrows are curved, his blossoming eyelashes quite thick, his rolling eyes full of passion, and his gentle speech saturated with feeling. His nectarous lips are very red, and he sounds low, clear, soft notes on his flute. Truly, even among the demigods, it would be hard to find such beauty, such sweet adolescence, such a lotus face, such tender compassion, such playful, sidelong glances, or such lovely, mild smiling as we find in Krishna. On every path, we see the childlike form of Murari, whose one fixed vow is to relieve all the afflictions of the people whose hearts are blossoming with faith for him. His soft, bright, bluish cheeks glow with ever-new effulgence. O girlfriend, who is this slowly coming along the path to Mathura? His head is adorned with a peacock feather, and his body is more captivating than an emerald column. His eyes are rolling, and his face is beautified by the sweetness of his wonderfully fascinating smiles. His words, with their natural boyishness, are very soothing, and his natural grace would win praise. Oh, what is this luster in the form of a young boy? His feet, having in a contest totally conquered clusters of lotuses, are the shelter for Lakshmi Devi. His hands, which express his love while playing the flute, are seats of artistic beauty. His arms, diffusing a flood of sweetness, are the vessel of desirous fulfillment for the doe-eyed milkmaids. And his face, his face is beyond words. Indeed, his face, abundantly adorned with lovely lips that possess 2 or 3 specially arranged waves of luster, need no other ornament. The wealth of his artistic attributes and amorous gestures are beyond understanding of fools. Oh, how wonderful, how amazing, how very wonderful, amazing is this splendor in the form of the young boy, Krishna. Oh, what an ineffable, sportive beauty Krishna has fully revealed before me. In all directions my eye witnesses this beauty, but alas, alas, he is beyond my grasp. O Mother, the 3 worlds are filled with my longed for youth, Krishna. Oh, when shall I again fasten into a topknot my Lord's thick locks, lying like separate rows of bees on his shoulders? When shall I hear his mild words, see his large eyes, kiss his sweet lips, see his sweetly beautiful face, and experience his fickle nature? If the Lord, the friend of the distressed, is surrounded by the beguiling wound of his flute, when will he be able to hear us repeatedly crying out, O abode of mercy, please protect us? Krishna, an ocean of mercy, bears the fragrance of fresh youth. When, oh when, will some danger to me focus his attention so that he looks upon me with his wide eyes? Oh, that I may see that young boy who has a complexion as deep blue as sapphire, sweet lips like bimba fruit, charming, mild smiling, soothing, nectarous words, cooling glances, and large, dawn, red eyes, and who is famous for his flute song. The ineffable adolescence of Krishna the father of Cupid, is sweeter than sweetness, yet fickler than fickleness. Alas, that adolescence has stolen away my heart. What shall I do now? Oh, when shall I see that young boy, Krishna, who is an ocean of jubilation and a treasury of playfulness? Broad are his lotus eyes and his chest. Mild are his gentle smiles and loving talks. Sweet are his cherry red lips and his flute song. The fortunate, who have heaped up my pious merit, can see Krishna, the original person, who brings their eyes under control with his extremely tender glances, whose lips are sweet with the nectar of his open smile, and who has adorned his head with a peacock feather. My dear friends, where is that Krishna, Cupid personified, who has the effulgence of a kadamba flower, who is sweetness itself, the nectar for my eyes and mind? He who loosens the hair of the gopis, who is the supreme source of all transcendental bliss, and who is my life and soul. Has he come before my eyes again? This boy Krishna, with his dancing eyes, his face beautifying all directions, and his charming outfit just suitable for a cowherd, has extracted the milk of joy for our eyes. He comes before us, the cooling balm for our eyes, wearing many tinkling ornaments on his body and a peacock feather on his head. His forearms are swinging. His eyes move restlessly with the agitation of love, and the moon of his lotus face displays a tender, gentle smile. This child, Krishna, who is the ornament for the intimate community of cowherd boys and girls, whose lively glances are so soothing, and whose moon-like face has a wealth of soft, tender smiles, gladdens my heart and enters deep within it. How wonderful the sound of the flute Krishna is holding to his lips is pouring forth an indescribable flood of divine love before our eyes. This is a rare, even among the planets of the demigods. Krishna, our darling, our God, our very life, delights the three worlds. This person approaching me is dark bluish like a tamal tree. His charming eyes, which resemble stars, move restlessly. The shining orb of his moon-like face is overflowing with delight. Or, his face radiates joy like the rising moon, and he sportingly begins sounding his flute. He is my very life. Here is that Krishna, my very life. He is the acme of fickleness, the one ultimate end of the existence of the fickle-minded milkmaids, the epitome of cleverness, the extreme perfection of the artistic skill of four-faced Brahma, the limit of good fragrance, the utmost embodiment of all sorts of astounding pastimes, the culmination of good fortune, and the zenith of auspiciousness for Braja. Oh, my good deeds have reached their culmination. Krishna has appeared before my eyes. The moon of his face is made doubly refreshing by its sweet tenderness, and he sprinkles me with a current of nectar, dropping note by note from the holes of his flute. He is the object of my words, which, though mad, are fortunate to be describing him. I bow down to the personified splendor, Krishna, who is the protector of the cows, and also all the worlds, and who reclines on the sloping breasts of Radha and also Seshanaga. I bow again and again before him, Krishna, whose glowing complexion is embellished with a kumkum powder glorified by its place on the breasts of the cowherd man's wives, who is the original creator of the flute song, and who possesses the glory of innumerable Bhas. Here comes my very life, Krishna. Having assumed a sporting attitude, he slowly approaches on tender lotus feet weighed down by softly tinkling anklets as he recollects various charming flute songs. Here comes my very life, Krishna. The beauty of his playful sidelong glances overflows with bliss, and he sprinkles my two perked up ears with the nectar of his sportive flute songs. He is the only friend of my eyes. Seeing me from a distance with a flood of sidelong glances, my Lord walks toward me with the sportive grace of an elephant and moves my heart with the current of the flute sound emanating from his mouth, which is filled with brightly glowing teeth. This is he, my Lord Krishna, playing on his flute. He possesses two wondrous feet, which are the shelter for the shelterless, which glow with the brilliance of many ornaments, which move this way and that, which are abundant with divine pastimes, and which fill the three worlds with the mellows of love. This is he who removed the burning distress of the great sages. This is he who stole the clothes of the impassioned wives of the cowherd men of Braja. This is he who curbed the pride of Indra, lord of the third world, the heavenly realm. This is he who has stolen the lotus of my heart. This personified glory, Krishna, has attained all excellence, both in his omniscience and his innocence. Having entered my eye, he is enjoying great bliss. This is a great wonder. With the rising of his moon-like face, this certain person, known as Krishna, is nourishing the faded luster of the cooling moon, and doubling the ocean of my thirst to see him. He is my very life. Behold this nectar for the eyes, the luster of this young boy Krishna. His hands teach graceful gestures to the autumnal lotus. His feet excel freshly grown desire tree sprouts in tenderness, and the beauty of his eyes destroy the pride of all comparable things. The bliss manifesting itself in the wondrous luster of the young boy Krishna reigns supreme between the sloping breasts of the beautiful milkmaids of Braja. That spreading, glowing bliss reaches a rarefied stage far beyond the appreciation of the eyes of anyone but the milkmaids of Vrindavan. And every day, every moment, and every twinkling of an eye, that bliss, embodied as Krishna, arranges pastimes and attracts even Arundhati, chastity personified, with the gentle charm of his tender smile. All glories to Krishna, my very life, and the enchanter of the three worlds. His now blooming youth is adorned with the last flickering of childhood. His eyes flashing with delight, he bewilders Cupid with the nectar of his smile. His beauty beguiles at every moment, and out of love he drinks from the mouth of his flute. How wondrous are these lotus feet of that Lord Krishna! How wondrous these lotus eyes! How wondrous this lotus face! Oh, how wondrous is this body! I bow down to Krishna, who is the only ornament of the entire world, yet who is ornamented by the pitcher-like breasts of Radha. He is the great central jewel among the necklace of emerald-like young girls of Braja. Oh, what an ineffable beauty my Lord Krishna is displaying. A delightful beauty enhanced by a loveliness acquired when the fresh kumkum on the darling Radha's breasts scattered over his own body, as grabbed them and she fought him off, and enhanced as well by the drops of perspiration that seemed to play on the mirror-like orbs of his cheeks. O my Lord, the transcendental body of Krishna is very sweet, and his face is even sweeter than his body. The soft smile on his face, which is like the fragrance of honey, is sweeter still. I take shelter of Krishna, who is the shelter of everyone in the universe, who has the form of a human being, who is adorned with a peacock feather, and who is the be-all and end-all of the conjugal mellow. O Lord, even to this very day, thousands of Upanishadic sages have not seen you with their eyes or in their hearts. So, by what great mercy of yours have you come within the range of my distressed vision for so long? O Keshava, what is this bright glow of your moon face? What is this appearance of yours, which is beyond description? Let that glow and that appearance be relished by yourself or by those souls who are competent to do so. I simply bow down before you again and again, and yet again. O Lord, the moon, having been conquered by your moon-like face, has taken shelter at your lotus feet and split into 10 parts, that is, your toenails, thereby gaining much greater brilliance and beauty than before. O Lord, how great is even a slight manifestation of your mercy. O Krishna, how can anyone compare your face to the lotus? And as far as for the moon, it attains a simply unmentionable state on the new moon day. So what else can I say? What other thing in the universe could possibly equal the loveliness of your face? If you want to hear, then listen carefully to something that even the incomparable poets of old did not take note of, and that is this. The lamp of the moon deserves to bear for a long time the burden of worshipping your moon-like face in the arti ceremony. All glories to your cooling smiles, which are an overflowing ocean of nectar, destroying all other joys with unbroken streams of the elixir of bliss. Let there be thousands of men who possess relishable beauty, and let there be thousands of men who are steady in the glory of the fragrance of attractiveness. We shall neither quarrel with them, nor speak well of them. But the truth, O Lord, is that in you the perfection of attractive beauty has reached its limit. O Krishna, being situated in you, the following things have achieved the fruit of their transient existences: the wives of the cowherd men, who become restless, their shyness destroyed, and who turn humble with love for you, songs which become swollen with passion, your excess of frivolity, which becomes very sweet, and my fully elated words, which scatter sweetness by stringing a garland of verses about you. O Lord, although the entire universe is your abode, Lakshmi is your consort, Lord Brahma and Pradyumna are your sons, and the chiefs of the demigods are your attendants, still, your pastimes here in Braja are most wonderful. All glories to Krishna, the most beneficent in all the 3 worlds, whose forehead is marked with musk tilak, and whose love and joy are increased by the love sports of Braja's milkmaids. O Lord, you and you alone are my worshipful deity, giver of love, fulfiller of desire. You alone are my knowledge, my power and wealth, my vital force, and my very life. O Lord, let our words be empowered to sweetly describe your beauty, and let our thoughts swell with eagerness when dwelling on your childhood. Let there ever flow in my heart the nectarous pastimes tasted by the tongues of blessed, fortunate souls. Your mischievous childhood pranks, such as laying in wait to obstruct Radha, and the sportive gestures of your lotus face, inspired by your rippling flute song. O Lord, if I am engaged in firm devotional service to you, then I can very easily perceive your divine youthful form. And as far as liberation is concerned, she stands at my door with folded hands, waiting to serve me. And all material conveniences of religiosity, economic development, and sense gratification stand with her. All glories, all glories, all glories to you, O Lord, whose holy name is auspicious for all three worlds. All glories, all glories, all glories to you, Lord Krishna. You are the incarnation, who are nectar for the ear, mind, and eyes, and who are the unique ocean of sweet, loving tenderness, glowing in the distance beyond words and thought. To you, to whatever glory you embody, I bow down. With the production of this bouquet of verses, which has the lasting fame of Damodar as its capital, and which adorns Ishana Dev's lotus feet, Leela Shuka has written about you, O Lord Sri Krishna. This nectar for your ears, may it continue to flow, to be heard, chanted, and sung for 100 days of Brahma, repeatedly pouring an indescribable shower of nectar into the ear holes of those fortunate souls who relish, through repetition, the fragrance of its waves of poetic sweetness. This nectar for the ears of Krishna, who is sunk deep in the minds and eyes of the beautiful-eyed milkmaids, and in ours, surges in voices and ears. O Krishna, always remembering the nectarous, low, soft sounds of your flute, as well as your eyes, doubly expanded with mercy, I pray that wherever my sight shall wander, you will always manifest your beauty, sweetness, and opulence before me. Shri Krsna-karnamrta ends here.
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama